YouTube, what's going on, man? It's your boy Xerxes coming back at you with another one. Hope you guys are ready to strap in because this one is going to be a banger. Let me tell you, this is a Kinetic Fusillade Elementalist that I have been playing, and it is without a doubt my favorite build that I've ever played. It's not even close. So, little overview on what we're going to do in the video today. We're going to kill Pinnacle boss. We're going to run through a map real quick, so I'll show you what both of those playstyles look like, and then I will go kind of in depth over how I put the character together and some of the nuances that you need to know when you're playing a build like this. So let's pop in this incandescent invitation real quick, show you what the single target looks like. We'll run through a map real quick so you can see what that looks like, and then we'll go over everything. All right, so with the bosses, really all you need to do is pop your graft skill, drop this, and then let her rip on the boss. It's that easy. Some pretty good damage there. All right, so one thing that I do for bossing is I put in a tornado. I'm not a huge fan of it for mapping purposes, so for mapping I switch into a hydrosphere. You don't have to do that. You can just map with tornado all the time if you want, but that is something that I do. So we'll just run this T16 Mesa map so I can show you what the mapping looks like, and then we'll get into all the particulars of the build. Real quick, I got this from Alcohol, so big shout out to him. Popped in his stream and asked him some questions, and he helped me learn a lot about this build. So definitely go and give his page a check if you want some more information on this. But yeah, the mapping is just absolutely insane on this build. Oh, there's a Legion on here too, so we can show you what that looks like. It's fast, it has great map clear, it has super good single target. I mean, there's nothing that this build doesn't do well. So if nothing gets changed with this skill in the future, I'll probably be playing this skill every single league. It's too good. When it first came out and I saw it in like the video, I didn't think anything of it. It actually looked pretty weak to me, but there's some tech that you can do with reduced duration that turns this from like a channeling kind of slower skill into just an absolute blaster. So I'm not going to do this. You guys have seen what the mapping looks like. I'll just go and kill the boss real quick. It's just nutty. Just nutty. Oh, I probably should have killed the rest of the map for destructive play, but it is what it is. Anyway, that is the mapping showcase and the bossing showcase done. So I pulled up a little notepad just so I make sure that I go over everything that I want to go over. All right, so the way that this build works is, if you're not familiar, Kinetic Fusillade typically will like spawn some projectiles, there's a delay, and then they'll shoot, right? So what I'll show you is like without less duration on, if I channel this, there'll be a delay between when I click and when the projectiles go out. See, so I'm holding it, and then the projectiles go out afterwards. Holding it, projectiles go out. What you want to do is lower your skill effect duration as much as you possibly can to where that delay doesn't happen. So now when I click, it's just machine gun blast, right? So that's in essence, the particulars about this build. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go over each gear piece. I'll go over all the links. Some of the stuff I will tell you how I crafted if I think it's particularly useful, and then we'll go over some other stuff, right? So a lot of the gear that you're looking for is similar to a lot of other builds. It's just energy shield and resistances, right? So the Lich Circlet here, you do want to get mana reservation efficiency on the implicit there. And then one thing that I noticed that Alcohol was doing that I'm not doing, he had reduced mana cost on here. I actually don't think that that's the play, because with Sigil of Power, you actually want to spend as much mana as you possibly can. So every 400 mana that you spend, you end up getting added lightning damage. So as long as you can maintain the cost, I think that it's better to not have reduced mana cost, right? So that's just my take on it anyway, right? So in here, like I said, ES resistances, and then we have lightning warp. This is our travel skill with precision. This is for a Watcher's Eye mod that we have, and then lightning warp is linked to faster casting and less duration. The chest piece is the same one that I've been using in a lot of builds, just ES with some suppress on there, and then Fizz taken as chaos as the implicit with an endurance charge every 15 seconds. This will make it to where we have permanent endurance charges with the mastery for 100% increased duration. The skills that we have in here, we're using greater volley with volatility, less duration, kinetic fusillade, increased crit, and trinity. This is where the reduced skill effect duration comes from. You need to get one with 20% if you can. And then the anoint there is hasty demise. Same thing with time class, get one with 20% reduced duration. I don't know if that one has a roll on it. No, it's, oh wait, yeah. So you need 20% reduced skill effect duration on there as well. And then a taming, pretty straightforward taming there. And the weapon. Okay, so what I did was I got a decent weapon from the tree that had, I think it had like 3 or 4 good mods that I would have wanted. And so then I actually fractured the attack speed on there because the fracture was like 9 divines at the time. Got lucky on that. So once you have a fractured attack speed, you use deafening essences of wrath to guarantee the T1 lightning. And you do that until you hit T1 cold. Okay, so that's what I did. I hit T1 cold on there. And then I did prefixes can't be changed. If you have a third prefix, you need to annul that off of there because you want just the 2 prefixes. And then I did prefixes can't be changed, reforge crit, and I hit crit multi. And at that point, I crafted on prefixes can't be changed again, and then I hit a veiled exalt on it, hoping to hit a prefix. Once I hit the prefix, I unveiled the pin, and then crafted on the strengthen it. So this is pretty much the GG weapon. You can't get much better than this. This is insane. For the gloves, same thing, energy shield with lightning damage to attacks. And then on here, you want the lightning exposure and rage on hit. Now, this is the setup, the Spellslinger setup for mapping. Like I said, I use Hydrosphere, but you can just put in Tornado and have that all the time. And then these are just the golems, Stone and Flame Golem. The Stygian Vise that I have, I used the essence that guarantees the chance to avoid being shocked. And then I spammed that until I got T1 strength, I think. I didn't need T1, but I just got T1. And then I had an open prefix, so I crafted suffixes can't be changed, reforged defense. I hit energy shield, and then I crafted on the LE damage to attacks and slammed it with a Shaper Exalt, which is how I got the increased elemental damage on there. And so the reason we're doing Avoid Being Shocked on here is because this, in conjunction with this Searching Eye Jewel, gives us a 100% chance to avoid being shocked, which is very important because we are using a Storm Shroud, which makes it to where once you get 100% shock avoid, then you have all elemental avoid. So this is how we're getting elemental ailment immune right there. Really great combo there. And then on the boots, just using some ES boots with stats, resistances, and then action speed and Fizz's extra lightning. The flasks, it's just a Quicksilver with corrupted blood immunity, a silver flask with crit chance, quartz flask with stun avoid, and then I am using a bottled faith. If you don't have a bottled faith, you can just use a regular crit flask here, and then a Rumi's concoction to help with some of our block. Okay. That goes over that. Let's go over the passive tree now. So one of the things that I did here, and I don't know that this is a fact for sure, but I'm just going to go with it. Local Hall was talking about this Shaper of Flames node actually increasing the fire damage that you take. So I did swap it over to Bastion of Elements. If this is bugged, then this is probably the right call. But if it's working properly, this is good fizz reduction. I'm just not 100% sure if it's working as intended right now. So take that with a grain of salt. Okay, the tree is pretty straightforward. We're just going and getting extra proj here. We get an extra proj here. The one important thing is this rune graft right here. So this makes our attributes 10% less, but we get 40% increased global defenses. So a lot of ES that we get from there. I think I got like 1,000 energy shield just from this one rune graft right here. Other than that, pretty standard elementalist stuff, going for block, going for wand damage. And then down here we do, this is the expensive part of the build, but it is 100% worth it, in my opinion, is this Impossible Escape with Magebane. Like I was mentioning earlier, you want to get as much reduced skill effect duration as possible. So these 3 points right here are very efficient, and then you can anoint hasty demise, which gives even more reduced skill effect duration. And then the only other thing to mention is I do have a blind tattoo on here. This helps cap my hit chance. And then I crafted this large cluster jewel. You're looking for a attack damage while holding a shield cluster with these two in the front, Devastator and Prodigious Defense. So what I did was I bought one and then I hit it at the Harvest Reforge with Fizz Reforge. You're going to get either Devastator or Vicious Skewering, I think. And then once you get a suffix like Martial Prowess, if you don't have a prefix on there, then you can just Exalt and hope to hit Prodigious Defense. That's what I did. It took me maybe like 7 or 8 Exalts of doing that before I hit this. So actually, I don't know if I got lucky, but that's how I did that. Then in here we have a Watcher's Eye. This is actually giving us 2 benefits. The precision gives us a flash charge on crit, and then we have damage penetrates by lightning, or damage penetrates lightning while affected by wrath. I don't know if I went over the skills in here, but this is Assassin's Mark with Mark on Hit and Ice Golem and Lightning Golem. And then in the shield, I didn't cover the shield either. This is important. You're looking for a Shaper shield that has a Shaper or Hunter, I believe, has the reservation efficiency. This is how you can reserve all of these. And in here, you put your biggest reservation skills, which is Tempest Shield, Herald of Ice, and Wrath. That covers all the gear. I think I went over all the gems too. Okay, passive tree is done. Now, let's go over how finicky this build can be. Okay, so as you can see here on my skill, I have a duration of 0.07 seconds with an attack time of 0.13. So there is a very handy flashbang, by the way, just warning here, a very handy skill that a guy named Nimrod, I believe is his name, came up with. And so this is how you can determine your attack speed, because you need to make sure that you don't go over a certain breakpoint of attack speed. So I will link this down in the description below. What you need to do is go over to File and make a copy. And then once you make a copy, this is where you can put in your particulars from the build. Okay, so for me, I have 7 projectiles that I have with Kinetic Fusillade. Says it right there. Okay, and then the other part you need to actually go into your POB for. So we'll go here, and I will show you in the calculation section. You need to set up your POB exactly how you have it with all your frenzy charges, your flasks, everything, to make sure that the calculation is correct. And then once you go to your calculations, you click on Kinetic Fusillade, and the thing that you're looking for is right here, this duration mod. Okay, so it says 0.1. So for me, I have 7 projectiles. My duration modifier is 0.1, which means that the very max, the most attack speed that I can have is 9.5. And if you go to my POB, you can see that my attack speed is 9.38. So I'm literally as close as you want to get, as close as you can without going over. I know that that's a lot to process, but if you do that, I promise you the build will work and it'll feel very good. If you have too much attack speed, you're going to feel it and it's not going to be good. So that is the particulars of how you need to set that up. And as you go through and you level and increase levels and get new things, like I had to keep on constantly changing my attack speed and all this sort of stuff. So it's very finicky, but as long as you know that one principle, you will be fine. Okay, just make sure that you keep an eye on that. Blind tattoo, impossible escape, all over that. Okay, that covers everything that I wanted to go over. Total cost of the build. Everyone always asks me what the cost is. These gear pieces you can get, like the gloves, the chest, the helmet, and the boots, very easy. They're probably like 10 or 15 chaos, honestly, because of how stupid the tree is. If you get a perfect rolled timepiece and like a perfect rolled time class, those can be a couple divs. This might be a few divs to craft too. So let's just call it 2, 4, 6. Call it a div for the rest of the gear. And then the weapon, you can use just a regular like multi-modded weapon that has a little bit less of this. So you could craft a good weapon for probably 2 or 3 divines. If you want to go giga, this one probably cost me like 20 divines to craft in the end, because I got unlucky on a couple 50/50s. But you do not need a weapon this good. I was blasting everything without this weapon. So all in all, probably like 10, 15 divines, you can get the build going and feel really good. and I'm going to just keep on sinking money into this because it's so much fun. So that answers, if you're worried about how much it costs. And then as far as leveling goes, there's a guide that Jung has for an Elementalist wand leveler that's just like unparalleled. It's so good. So just use that if you want to level, and then once you get some gear, you can make the swap over. Okay, so that covers everything that I wanted to cover. If you guys do have any questions or need help on the build, feel free to drop your questions down in the comments below, and I will continue to make any updates to the build as they come along. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you beauties in the next one. Peace out.